Hey, it's the Bradcast. This is Comic Experience Sci-fi. I'm here with The Q.
Hello.
And Joe Johnson, the host of the Hollywood Car Minute on our wonderful TV show. Joe, how are you doing?
I'm great. Thanks for having me.
Great. We are here to talk about the movie Cars 3. We've all seen the movie.
Yes,
we
have.
And I think we differ in our opinions somewhat. Joe, would you like to start? You are the car guy for the show. Please tell me what you thought.
Let me start off by saying that I may be in the minority when I say that Cars is one of my all-time favorite Pixar movies. I absolutely loved the message of the original Cars. I loved the look, the animation, just the message of it. So I really was optimistic coming into this one because I felt like we were let down a little bit with the sequel. The sequel was kind of kiddie fair.
Yes, it was.
James Bond spoof, which just seemed completely outrageous and a little bizarre to me.
Yeah.
So I was hoping they were going to make amends with number 3, and I think they did. I think that the third entry in this series is the sequel we deserved the last time around.
Oh, okay. That's an interesting point of view. We'll save our spoilers for the end. Mr. Q, tell me what you thought of the movie. In general terms, no accidental spoilers, please.
Me and Joe kind of agree on some points and disagree on others. I do agree that the second one should have been the third one. If you were going to let us down anytime, it should have been now. You know, so the third one should have definitely been the sequel that we were waiting for. But I understand why they did it this way. I do understand why they did it this way. I feel like it's the best one.
Interesting.
All right. Well, I really enjoyed Cars. When it first came out, like you said, innovative. We were still new to Pixar. We're just, it was just hitting its stride. We had other entries, and we'll discuss our favorite Pixar movies later. But it was great, and if you were a race enthusiast, it was a great movie. Second movie was not for the kids. Second movie was...
You mean not for the adults? It was geared specifically toward the kids. Number 2?
No, I thought that was the love story. Wasn't that the love? That's where
Number
he meets
2?
the Porsche.
That was the
That
first
was
one.
number 1.
Yeah.
Oh.
The second one was the James Bond spoof. They go to London. They take part in the International
Raceway
Grand Prix,
with
And Mater
what
is
was that guy?
mistaken for a super spy.
Yeah.
Oh, my. Did I really not see Cars 2? Holy crap.
Yeah,
Well, at
with,
any rate...
Francisco Donato. What was his name? I know his name was
Francesco
Francisco
Bertolini
or something like
oh,
that.
my
Yeah.
God. Okay, I did not
And she
see
was like,
this movie.
I just love his body. Francesco. It was a
Oh, my
whole
God.
big,
Fabuloso?
pretty much.
All
No,
right.
I did not hate Cars 2. I just thought it was an odd chapter where they went in a completely different direction than what the tone they had set up in the first one.
And to me, Cars 2 wasn't as successful as Cars 1, but if it would have been, Cars 3 would have been just as cheesy and bad as Cars 2.
Yeah, but see, I didn't think Cars 3 was for the kids. I thought the Cars 3 was for the people bringing the kids to the movie.
Now, I agree with you there because the theater that I was in, I don't know about you guys, but obviously there was a lot of kids in my theater, and I felt I sensed that they were losing interest. I felt the kids were starting to get squirmy and they were getting talky, and I heard a couple kids start crying, and I felt like they were losing interest within the first half hour or so of the movie.
Yeah, I went to the first showing on a Friday, so it was probably it was the kids that don't go to school yet in mine. So
Well, they should be out of school in most cities, so I'm surprised.
I think Friday was the last day of school.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
So that the 5 or 10 kids that was in the theater with me, you could tell by like the middle, it was just like,
Right. Well, 7 o'clock on Thursday, it was 3/4 full. Mostly no seats available. Not a lot of carrying on. But I was struck by the fact that there weren't a lot of belly laughs. And
Yeah, that's one thing I noticed in this chapter is the humor was lacking.
Really?
Where I thought the first one had a lot
it
of
was
laughs.
it was hysterical.
Yeah, and the second one even more so. But
Yeah.
yeah, the laughter, the humor was missing in this third chapter.
Yeah, and that's why I asked if you guys. I should have, and I apologize for not texting out to say stayed till the end, because that was one of the only really good laughs of the show. It was completely erroneous, but it was hysterical, and that's what the movie was missing. It was originally, I thought, a very funny movie, franchise-wise, and now not so much. It just became really serious, and all I can think of is the Joker. Why so serious?
Yeah.
And I really lost. Yeah, I mean, you know. So, are we ready for spoilers? I think we've lulled them in a false sense of doldrums. Shall we destroy this thing and tell everybody what's going on?
Yeah, let's get into
Let's
it.
do it.
All right. Well, Joe, please start again. Go ahead and tell us your what you thought was the most significant veering in the franchise.
Well, I saw a lot of similarities in Rocky. Did you guys happen
Yes,
to
that was
notice?
exactly what I was going to say.
Even more specifically, Creed. There was
Yes.
a
It was
lot.
Creed.
Yeah, did you notice a similarity?
It was more. Yeah, it was like Rocky 5 and Creed, like together.
I stood up twice in the theater and shouted, "Cash grab!"
I kept waiting to hear Mickey. You're a bum.
Yeah,
And I kept-
Hey,
It
Adrian.
didn't turn into Rocky though until an hour and 15 minutes into it.
yeah, it was
The
a
rest
lot
of
of training montages and
it was
things
just
like
so
that.
painful.
And I could actually
And move and reach and
Oh
get
my
your
God,
lunch and
what is
reach.
that?
And rock. And I'm sitting here and I'm like, I thought that was pretty funny, and I did laugh, but I'm still sitting here like, what the hell does this have to do with racing? Like, what are you
Yeah.
doing?
It was definitely a Rocky homage, and
Yeah.
I guess you can call the last act of the film a twist. I don't know if we want to get into the twist, but I actually didn't quite see that twist coming in the last act of the movie. I thought this was going to be a typical McQueen finds that inspiration and does what he needs
Right.
to do, and they went in a different direction. And I sat there going, "Wow, that is interesting."
Yeah.
The direction that they went in. I don't know if it's legal in racing what they did.
Actually,
but
it is.
It is legal.
It is. Yeah, the
Interesting.
team is entered,
Very interesting.
and as long as the team finishes, because technically, if you have the time in the pits, you can rebuild the car from scratch.
Wow.
And send it out. So shall we? Another changing cars and putting on the racing number in the middle. As far as I know, I don't know I can't remember if it's NASCAR or kart that allows it. I'm assuming based on their reference, it's stock car racing that allows it. But yeah, it is allowed.
I meant to
Really?
look that up after the film, and I didn't get around to it. But that almost kind of took me out of my enjoyment of the movie. Was sitting there thinking, "Is this legal?"
Actually, I was when she beat him, and he had that epiphany on the dirt track. I kind of anticipated that he wasn't going to start, that he was just going to put her in and say, give her. So when he did for her what Paul Newman did for him, I was
Right.
going to say John Wayne, because it was all old guys. Did you notice how many dead people are in this movie?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. There's
Tom Magliazzi, I thought, as his sponsors, the Rusty's sponsors, because Ray, obviously, who's still alive, had fantastic lines, and he was totally himself, and that was a very funny part of the movie. And Tom, who, may he rest in peace, who I really enjoyed their show every week. I would listen to the original show and the repeat show every Saturday and Sunday. And Tom's just, yeah, ha, ha. I mean, it's like, oh, my God. But it's like they took just clips off the radio to put him on. Who else? Oh, the Paul Newman.
well, Paul Newman. They reused a lot of his dialogue from the first film as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, and it was fairly star-studded. I love how Cheech Marin just does not care if he is stereotyped at all, as long as he can get into a movie.
He embraces it, and he was really underutilized. He only had, one or two lines in the movie.
Yes,
I
only,
was
you're right,
surprised.
maybe 3 scenes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe 3 scenes, but it was still clearly Cheech Marin, and it was a perfect stereotype, and he did it superbly as always.
Let me ask you guys this.
Yeah.
Mater was noticeably absent, voiced by, as we all know, Daniel Whitney. Larry the Cable Guy's real name, which I just discovered recently. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? Less Mater.
I think that was actually a travesty of justice, and somebody needs a beating.
Yeah.
Yes, if you're looking at it from the comedy standpoint, because if you remember,
I'm looking at it from the kid's standpoint.
Right, but if the first two movies, the comedy came from Mater.
Yeah,
it didn't come from Owen Wilson. It came from Mater.
No, and Owen Wilson, oh my God, somebody straighten his nose. That car was depressing. Lightning McQueen.
Yeah, that was.
He was in Primer half the movie.
He was. Yeah, that's it. Let's go there.
He was in Primer half the movie.
I think why they cut back on Mater was the reaction from Cars 2 that it was
too
all
much
Mater
Mater.
all the time in Cars 2. It was too much. It was like having an all Jar Jar Binks movie.
That was Cars 2. Cars 2 was the cash grab.
It was.
Cars 2 was the.
That's why there was so much time between the 2 and 3.
Mater was the best part in Cars 1. So to sell the toys, they made Cars 2 all about Mater.
Right.
But they fucked up. So they made Cars 3 more true to Cars 1, but it was still, okay, we'll do less Mater because we gave them too much Mater in 2.
But I think he was noticeably absent, and I think he should have gone on the road with McQueen to provide that comic relief that it needed.
Right. Because otherwise it was too depressing.
Right.
The first hour of the movie, at least.
I feel like if he goes on the road with McQueen, the whole movie changes.
Yeah, it would have definitely had a different tone, but I think that would have been a good thing. I thought the first hour of the movie was too somber.
Yeah.
I disagree.
You thought it was cheery?
No, I didn't think it was cheery. No, I agree with the song. I think I disagree with the Mater point.
Well, we didn't. I agree with Joe, but I'll quantify what you're objecting to. We're not saying Mater in every scene.
Right.
No, I understand that.
But not him coming in and, in the opening 15 minutes, he is in, every time there's a race, he's Lightning's biggest fan. Mm-hmm. Therefore, he is going insane, wearing the stupid hat, leading the cheering section, which is fine. Not a lot. You only see him while there's racing. And then for like 65 minutes, you don't see any Mater at all.
Right.
And then I think there was a phone call.
Yeah, they had some phone calls.
But he was the reason he went to Smokey. Sorry, spoilers.
No, that's fine. No, we're in the spoiler section already.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it.
Well, we didn't get that far yet. So.
I think that, because it took an hour of feeling sorry for himself before he realized that he had to go back to his roots.
Right, but that's why I say if you add Mater, you lose that tone. Because if Mater is there with him,
but he's hanging out with people who don't know him, who can't guide him. He needed his support
but
group.
He needed to find it on his own.
And yet not a child's movie. Fat.
Well, let's talk about
I
that.
didn't say
no,
it was a perfect fix.
I'm not disagreeing with you.
No, I know. I didn't say it was a perfect
just
fix.
saying,
Yes. If you're sitting here trying to make it a better children's movie, okay, then yes, let's throw Mater in there in more scenes.
Right.
If you're sitting here trying to judge the movie on what we've seen,
yeah.
Okay, the reason that I called it the best Cars movie, then Mater does not need to be there.
It's a best Cars movie for adults.
I'm not sitting here looking at it from a kid's view.
See, what Pixar has
am.
mastered over the last 17 movies or whatever is this balance of creating movies that appeal to children, but when their parents drag their kids to the theater, they're entertained as well. So there's always been this balance, and I thought the balance was out of whack in this.
But do kids watch dramas? This was really
kids nowadays watch Real Housewives, so I pretty much think they watch drama.
And those kids need a beating too.
Well, hey, so do the parents, but that's a issue.
Yeah, they shouldn't allow it on the TV.
Now I want to bring this up. You talk about how this movie wasn't really geared toward kids, so let's talk about that theme of aging and accepting the fact that you're getting old.
Mater does not need to be there,
and you have to pass the mantle on to someone else. Are these themes that kids are going to appreciate?
No.
I mean,
no, they're not. But we are not. I am not judging it on the fact that it is a kids movie. I'm judging on the fact that it is a movie. Okay.
Yeah.
Just like how Mark says you can't judge on the fact that it's a comic book movie. You have to judge on the fact that it's a movie.
Yeah, why'd you have to bring that up for?
Well,
How the hell did I know she was 13? She looks 16 anyways.
terrible. Anyway, if you judge it
That's a
on the
line from a
movie-
Cheech and Chong
I
album.
know that.
All right, go ahead. I want to kick booty. Go ahead. That's the character's name. Go ahead.
If you judge it on the movie, then Mater doesn't need to be there. But like he said, these are not messages that kids need.
Can I tell you something?
But
I hear what you're
Lightning
saying.
McQueen would have never accepted that fact if Mater was there, because Mater would have kept pushing him to do what he does, not what he needs to do.
Tell him how great
If
he
this
is.
movie wasn't animated, I wouldn't have seen it, and we wouldn't be talking about it.
Yeah.
And that, sir, is why it is a piece of shit, and I think the tomatoes should be barfing V8 all over it.
Wow.
Well, excuse me.
Yeah, I expect if I can't poke a character, then it's a kids movie. Okay, anime, I don't even care. You want to talk the animated Ghost in the Machine because kids won't see it because it looks too real. Cars is in no way real. I want it to be entertained. I want my child inside to be entertained. I want Lightning McQueen to win the day. And yes,
he
I
did
don't
win
mind
the
that
day.
a girl came through in the end. I absolutely wanted
technically
that
did win
girl
the
to
day.
win. Yes, but I didn't want a fucking episode of goddamn Rocky when I went to go see a fucking car movie.
But who gets mad at? First of all, he had to realize that.
No, he's an old man. Little kids don't see old man movies. I don't see old man movies.
You saw Old Man Logan.
That's a comic book movie. What the fuck? Help me out here.
I don't know if I necessarily agree with you, Brad, about animated movies necessarily being kids' movies. I think there are a lot of
Puss in Boots
adult-
is not a kids movie.
I mean, you could go back
Puss in Boots
to,
was hysterical.
But it was hysterical because it was an adult movie.
We're not going to agree, so I will let it go.
Do you know what they do to eggs in prison? Let's just say it ain't over easy. There were no kids in the theater laughing, but every single adult was laughing.
Yeah, so where was the writing? Help me out.
I love Puss in Boots. It's a great DreamWorks movie.
Fine, but Puss in Boots was not a drama.
Yes, it was.
No, it wasn't.
The dude was
It was an
sleeping-
adventure movie. It's
the
Puss in
dude was
Boots.
sleeping with a cat and got caught by the owner and had to escape through the window. Kids don't understand that.
Kids understand cats escaping through the window. Have you ever had a cat?
You know,
Seriously.
you could have the same discussion with about Bugs Bunny cartoons.
I love Bugs Bunny.
There's a layer of Bugs Bunny cartoons that appeals to kids, the physical violence and stuff. But then there's this cerebral element of Bugs Bunny cartoons.
But it
that
was
adults
funny.
get. Yeah, yeah.
Animaniacs, to your point, is funnier now
As an
than
adult,
it was when I was
yeah.
a kid.
There's jokes you didn't get as a kid. that
I
you
never
get now.
watched it as a kid. I'm old.
Okay.
I never watched it as
I'm
a kid.
sorry.
Some of this stuff is insane, but you understand, I want to be entertained here, not here.
He pointed to his stomach first and then his head second.
Yes, thank you. I
You're
appreciate
welcome.
the translation. I mean, like here, I have to go see The Mummy tomorrow with my dad for Father's Day, and he wants to see The Mummy because he saw The Mummy when it was Boris Karloff 70 years ago. You understand? Right, exactly. That same mummy, do you understand? That same mummy was on Abbott and Costello. Okay, that same mummy had crossed over and whatever. Universal coming back and trying to make all this work. And don't you feel sorry for them that at least Brandon Fraser?
I don't feel sorry because I wanted it to fail so they would realize that they should have went back to the original.
Well, and that's the thing. You know, Universal wants to reassert their
Universal
theme.
hasn't been dominant since 1947.
Whatever. But the point is they are taking the hit, 17%. I don't even know if I want to see it, but you know what? The Mummy's a girl. I want to see it because I want to see what they did with it, right? But I know going in that it's going to be horror, it's going to be drama, and it's an adult movie, and that's fine. But I went to Cars to be vastly entertained, and I was bored to fuck, and I paid $10 goddamn dollars to sit in an uncomfortable recliner, and then waited an hour and a half till there was like 45 minutes of good stuff, and going, yeah, go, woohoo!
So let me ask you this then. Pixar has released 18 movies. Cars 3 is the 18th movie.
Yeah.
How does it rank among Pixar's finest?
I wouldn't
Brad,
put it,
I kind of get an idea.
I wouldn't put it in the top 10.
Oh, not at all. No. But Q, what are your thoughts? What are your top Pixar movies? And here's the complete list with some of the new releases coming out.
Well, of course, to me, Incredibles is number one.
Yeah.
Wait a second. Toy Story started it all.
I understand.
How can you
that.
rank any Pixar movie above Toy Story?
I went to the movies to see Toy Story.
Toy Story is not only, in my opinion, the greatest Pixar movie, it's one of the greatest movies ever made. And the second and third installments of Toy Story, I think, make that one of the greatest trilogies of all time.
The same problem he has with Cars 3, I have with Toy Story 3.
Yeah, but were you bawling like a baby watching
that's
it?
That's what I said. That whole
Holy
scene
cow.
at the end when they were getting ready to go into the incinerator, I'm sitting here like, I shouldn't be crying this hard over toys. Like,
yeah.
So
that's what makes it so great, though.
I agree. Toy Story is in the top 10.
Oh, top 5.
It would be top 5 because see, Incredibles struck me because it was superheroes.
Yeah, and Incredibles is the most action-packed Pixar movie.
Of course.
And I think it's one of the greatest action movies ever made and one of the greatest comic book movies ever made, if you can call it that, now that it's based on a comic book. But, yeah, Incredibles is in my top 5. But for me, 1, 2, and 3 are Toy Story 1, 2, and 3. But believe it or not, Cars is number 4 for me, above Incredibles. That's how much I liked Cars. Now, I know not a lot of people agree with me. Some people rank Cars very low on the list. As a matter of fact, Rotten Tomatoes ranks Cars number 13 out of all the Pixar movies.
It's not 13, but it's not top 5.
Yeah.
Well, I agree with you, Joe, that Toy Story is in the top 5, Cars is in the top 5, Incredibles is in the top 5. I can't rank them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but like I'm having a problem getting in, what is it? Like Finding Nemo. At that point, when I watched that movie the first time, I could not stand Albert Brooks. For whatever reason, I could not take it. And yet, the movie in and of itself, the Ellen DeGeneres character, Dory, was endearing, and you wanted, and you're rooting, and I found it really tiresome. But the second time I watched it, I really enjoyed it. Okay, I wanted to see Finding Dory because I only remember the good memories of watching Finding Nemo, but I was disappointed by Finding Dory because, again, it's first time watching it, second time watching it, because I do rate everything based on my mood. Sometimes I go in and it's a downer because it has nothing to do with the movie, and I can admit that.
Someone once asked me what I thought of a movie, and I said I hated it, and they said why, and I said because I sat behind a big fat smelly guy.
Right, exactly. That's exactly it. I would like to say though that Up.
I was just about to say that. How do wait.
Is also
1,
in my
2, and
top
3
5.
One of them has to go because Up has to be in the top 5.
You know what? I love the first 15 minutes of Up. After that, it degenerated into a kids movie with the talking dog, which I found so annoying, and the bird, and those were too kiddie for me. That first 15 minutes or so,
right? The beginning
had tears in my eyes.
and the end.
Okay,
but it's a very silly.
That was the first 15 minutes was for the adults.
Yeah.
Do you see the theme we're going here?
We should have invited a 10-year-old. There should be a 10-year-old in this chair.
We should have asked Bruno what he thought.
Right.
I'm just saying because this is my argument for Cars 3.
Right, but I knew going in that Up was going to be that way.
Here's something interesting. I compiled this list from Rotten Tomatoes.
Surprises.
Look at this list from Rotten Tomatoes. The top 10 best reviewed Pixar movies on Rotten Tomatoes. ranking in at number 10, which is Ratatouille, 96% positive. That's the 10th ranked movie, 96%. So
They just go up from here.
yeah,
you see what I did there?
it's 96 to 100%. So Pixar movies overall are pretty great.
Okay.
And like you
Okay.
said, it's
Yeah.
really hard to say.
Right.
which-
So
No,
what's
I can
nine?
give you
So
a
what's
top
nine?
five right now.
Hold on. Let's see
Okay.
whether or not we
All right.
agree with Rotten Tomatoes, because I
So-
know you don't agree with Rotten Tomatoes.
I
And
hate
half the
Rotten
time I
Tomatoes.
don't. So go ahead. What's
10
nine?
Ratatouille, 9 Toy Story 2, which I don't agree with. I would rank that
Okay.
higher.
Just refresh me. Is Toy Story 2 is Lotso?
With with the kid, the collector, the chubby collector, played by Wayne Knight. Is that his name
Yeah.
from Seinfeld?
Oh,
And he's gonna
Newman.
Yeah, Newman
Right.
Is the
Yeah,
collector.
as a
So
collector,
that was
he
Toy Story
steals
2.
Woody and all that other stuff.
Oh, right. And they
Yeah.
have to escape. And okay,
Exactly.
Yeah.
all
I
right.
love that one.
And
Yeah.
Buzz is Spanish or something. Oh, that's 3. I'm sorry.
yeah, so
That's
three,
a switch on his back, right?
Yeah.
yeah. I love that.
3. Toy Story 3 is ranked number 8.
That's
ranked
with
number,
Lotso.
I
Ranked
agree
number
with that.
7. Inside Out. We'll talk more about Inside Out in a
Ugh,
second.
that can be 18.
Number 6, Wall-E, which
Yeah, I
think
loved
is-
Top
Wall-E.
5.
I love
Yeah.
Wall-E, but it's one of the most depressing movies ever made.
And it's really cerebral,
yeah.
right? You really have to understand what's going on there. That's almost like that's like one of the comic books you buy it because it has a great cover, and you open it up and it's like, oh my god, what did I buy?
Well, Wall-E, what the problem I had with it, I think it's an amazing movie. The problem I had with it is the very cynical look at human beings,
Yes,
the human
yes.
race, and our bleak future. And I walked out of there horribly depressed, like this is a cartoon, and I want to cry.
Yeah, right.
That's how I felt with Inside Out. So now we
Oh.
get into the top 5 according to Rotten Tomatoes. Up is in at number 5. Now this surprises me a little bit. Number 4, Monsters Inc.
Yeah.
Number 3, Finding Nemo. Number
Okay.
2, The Incredibles, and number 1, Toy Story.
So what do you think, Q? I know your top 5 is completely different.
Without order. Incredibles. Wall-E.
Number 2, eh?
Without ranking.
Without ranking? Okay.
This is just in the 5.
Okay, top 5.
This is just the top 5.
Yeah.
Incredibles. Wall-E.
Yeah.
Toy Story.
Yeah.
Where does Finding Nemo, Finding Dory?
Top 10.
Really not? Okay.
Bug's Life.
Yeah, Bug's Life ranks pretty low on a lot of people's lists. I actually really
Because it
enjoyed
was very non-distinguishable between Bug's Life and Ants.
Ants. That's what it
Yeah.
was.
And that was the problem. They came out
at
about the same.
Well, that's a Hollywood trend when you think about it, like Armageddon.
But how do
and
they
Deep
know?
Impact, and there's always like these two movies that come out
It
simultaneously.
takes 18 to 24 months to make one of these movies. How the fuck do they know?
You know what my theory is? My theory is that somebody goes around Hollywood pitching a script and gets turned down, and then they put their own people
And
on
they
it.
steal it.
And they steal it,
Bastards.
and then 2 movies come out at the same time. That's my theory, because it happens way too often.
Yeah.
White House down and Olympus is falling.
Exactly. Happens a lot. Armageddon, what did I say? Armageddon and Deep Impact.
Yeah.
There were some like volcano movies. and
Yeah.
stuff.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Now, I really enjoyed Brave.
I did too.
I don't know about top 5, but every time I see a redheaded girl, I look for a bow and arrow and I duck.
My problem with Brave was the thing about turning the mom into the bear. I sat there going, "What the hell is going on?" That really knocked it down a few pegs for me.
Because if I'm going to go in and it's going to be photorealistic and it's not going to be made up characters and it's going to be like real people and it's a story of coming of age and literally bravery and girls' rights and don't take a sitting down and then magic.
Yeah.
Where the fuck did that come from?
Yeah, that was really odd. I
Yeah.
found Brave to be really
Yeah.
odd. Inside Out, as much as I enjoyed Inside Out, that's another Pixar movie that I walked out during the credits feeling horribly depressed. And normally with movies, you basically have 3 acts. You have the first act where characters are introduced and it's upbeat and it's fun. Then there's that dark middle turn, where maybe the protagonist gets turned on or whatever. And then there's the resolution at the end and everything, ends up okay at the end. And so when I was sitting there watching Inside Out, and the daughter's going through this dark period, I'm thinking, okay, let's get to the third act. Let's turn everything around. And it never really came until the very end of the movie, the last 5 minutes. She starts to accept her fate and starts making friends.
Right. Crisis, climax, and denouement within 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very hard to sit through.
There's a good hour of that movie where I was really depressed. Like, this is hard to watch.
Yeah,
And
that was the kind of movie where I'm actually screaming at the screen, saying, "No, do this." Same like Q when the white people do something stupid, the black people run away, and Q's like, "What the fuck are you doing? It's a ghost! Turn around!"
That's what we do.
That's right, because you're smarter than we are.
Yes.
I agree. I found it entertaining because I, of course, identified with the Lewis Black character, and the sadness just ruined it. And that's why it's not in my top 5, and it's barely in the top 10, only because I studied psychology and I absolutely understood. I looked at it like a case study. You know what I mean?
It's number 18.
Yeah, okay, number 18. I agree with Q.
It's number 18.
Now here's this is kind of interesting. The top grossing Pixar movies is completely different than the most popular Pixar movies. What do you think is the number 1 highest grossing Pixar movie of all time?
Toy Story 3.
No, that
Incredibles.
is that's actually number 2. The number 1 highest grossing Pixar movie of all time is Finding Dory.
Finding Dory?
Yeah.
I was going to say Finding Nemo. Finding Dory.
And that's domestically. We're talking domestically. If you look at worldwide grosses, Toy Story 3 and Finding Dory both grossed over $1 billion worldwide. So those are the top 2. Cars 2 ranks 9th with $562 million. Cars ranks 14th worldwide, $462 million.
Yeah, I don't know if everybody is as crazy about driving cars as we are.
Yeah, and overall, and we haven't discussed this movie at all. I haven't seen it, but what is the least popular and least grossing movie?
Monster University.
No, Good Dinosaur.
Oh, that was a good movie.
I have not seen it. I haven't heard good things, but that
it wasn't a
dead
great
last.
movie, but it was. The dinosaur was the protagonist, and the human was the pet. It was awesome.
Never saw it. Now, interestingly, on the Rotten Tomatoes list, Cars 2 ranks dead last as far as popularity with 39% positive ratings. And
Which is
Good
still higher than
Dinosaur
The
is
Mummy.
Second. Yeah. And Good Dinosaur is second to last. And Good Dinosaur goes from 77% to Cars 2's 39%. So there's a huge drop off there.
As you know, Cars 2 sucked.
Now I have to go see it.
Seems to be the general consensus.
I think I just found it in an old box of DVDs. I'll have to watch it
Open it up and watch
bring it up again.
It's a trilogy now.
So what do we think about the new stuff that's coming down the way? Incredibles 2. Who's excited?
I'm
very excited. Long as Sam Jackson comes back and has his super suit.
Honey,
Where's my super suit? I felt like he was going to say, where's my motherfucking super suit?
That would be for the adults.
Yeah, right?
Oh my God,
I saw the trailer for, is it Coco? I don't know what to make of that
That's the
one.
princess marriage to the dead. It was the
Day of the Dead thing?
No, there was just a movie. There's a girl who is dead or comes back. It's not Pixar. Well, yeah, it's not Pixar. We didn't mention it. It's somebody. It's a Disney movie, and it was a girl gets killed, and somebody goes back in the land of the dead and comes back and revives her. I thought that.
Are you talking about?
Somebody did a cosplay of it. Somebody interviewed. Please help me.
Oh my God! You're talking about with the wood figures? Are you talking about that one?
I don't know.
I'm drawing a blank.
It's a movie with the wood figures, and he goes around singing. The guy's supposed to be a matador. Is that what you're talking about?
Oh, I don't know. Maybe.
Book of Life.
Oh yeah, Book
of Life with Ice
right.
Cube playing.
Yeah.
He plays
drawing a
their. Oh my God.
Yeah,
the candle maker.
Right.
He plays the candle maker, and there's the land of the dead, the land of the living, and
The kid's mom dies, and he goes to the.
No, this is girlfriend.
Yeah, okay.
He goes to the land of the land of the remembered to get his girlfriend because the guy who runs the land of the forgotten. It's a good movie.
Is that a Disney movie?
I don't know.
I think it's a
made it.
DreamWorks. It
Okay.
might be DreamWorks.
Oh yeah, there you go. That's why I
Because
couldn't remember.
Coco's a similar.
It's a ripoff. Yeah.
Yeah, where basically this kid finds this guitar that somehow allows him to enter the realm of those who.
I think it's his
passed,
father's
and
guitar.
I don't. You guys have seen
He's
the
looking at
trailer?
it-
What,
yeah,
what do
he's
you
looking
make
at
of
a-
this. It looks really bizarre.
I
haven't
think,
seen it.
Right, because in the other movie, once a year on the Day of the dead come home. You go to the cemetery and
Right.
you visit with your dead relatives.
Yeah.
Well, he's looking at a picture, right, with his mom, a guy with his face torn off with this guitar. He picks it up, starts playing with it, and finds he is now human, transported to the land of the dead, and all the skeletons are afraid of him because, like, he's a ghost. I thought that was actually, I want to see it because I want to see how it ends, because I don't think they really told us the original, the opening part of the story properly. I think it's a little creepy, but I think the deadpan reaction of a surprise skeleton where his jaw drops literally
Right.
was hysterical. So I would go see it for the laughs.
Yeah. Now, were you guys like me when they announced that there's going to be a Toy Story 4? I felt a little bit of disappointment because I thought that the trilogy had wrapped up so nicely
I thought
with
it
3.
did. Yeah.
That 4 feels like a cash grab, and where can this story go? I'm actually a little disappointed that they announced a Toy Story 4. What are you guys thinking?
I don't know what else they do.
I don't know what to do. You've already passed them on to the little girl.
Yeah.
So what's she gonna be? 25
Unless they
and pass them on to her
reintroduce new
daughter?
toys.
Yeah.
But who wants to go through that again? We
Yeah.
did that already. That was
Yeah.
the first one.
Hence the cash grab.
Yeah, that's all it feels like to me because I thought Toy Story 3 was a nice little bow.
I thought 2 and 3 was a cash grab, but that's just me.
No, those are some of the greatest movies ever made. Those are great.
All right.
So.
Well,
And then what's the other movie on that list? There's Incredibles 2,
Coco,
Coco, Toy
Toy
Story.
No, that's
that was
it.
it.
That's it. All right.
and then
so
there's two more unnamed we don't know anything about them.
All right.
Yeah, I don't understand how you guys. I mean, take it. As a kid, I had to go to the show to see Toy Story because I wanted to see it when it first came out. At that time,
You're going to make me say I had to go to the movies when they came out because there was no internet when I was a kid.
no,
Is that
that's
what you're gonna make me
fine.
say?
No. I remember going to see it for the joy of going to see it as a kid.
Yeah, of course.
And when I came out the movie, it was a great movie. I had all the Woody dolls, the Buzz Lightyear dolls, you know.
Oh, yeah.
But it was still 1995 to me was owned by Disney because remember before Pixar became Disney Pixar.
Right.
So that was Disney's prime years, and to me, that's why Toy Story doesn't rank as high as you guys might put it because I still have those memories of Disney thoroughly kicking everybody's ass between 1990 and 1999.
I just think not only is Toy Story a great movie, but I think it's one of the most important movies ever made. It was the first movie ever released that was entirely digital from opening credits to end credits, and it was so important, and it really changed Hollywood and changed movies forever.
Right.
But in my opinion, it's just a great, great movie that appealed to both kids and adults.
Yeah, my sister is a big fan of that, of the first one and the franchise. It's easy to buy her gifts these days. If it's Toy Story themed, you can just send it out. She's happy.
So I guess we've reached that point of what's the consensus, Joe?
I liked it a lot. I just am warning parents that your young ones might struggle to sit through this. But as an adult, I really enjoyed it. And when it's released on DVD and Blu-ray, I'm going to add it to my collection.
Okay, so go see it again, or you just wait.
I'll wait till it comes out on DVD.
Brad?
Is it worth going? Yeah. Better matinee than full price? Yeah. Buy the DVD. If you're a collector, yeah. Will I see it again? Not in the theater.
I loved it. I actually probably gonna go see it again on Monday.
Okay.
Buy it, yes. I have the first two. So at that point, I'm one of those people that if you have one, you got to get the rest.
Yeah, close the collection.
You got to close
sure.
the collection. I do agree with Joe's sentiment, though. Parents, this isn't.
Yeah, it's not a kids movie.
If you're going there, they have to be at least, 10 or something.
I agree.
Yeah.
They're not gonna. The young ones not gonna get it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I say go see it.
No, I'm not telling people not to go see it.
No,
I just want them to go. If they go see it, they need to know that it's not what they think it is.
No, yeah, I agree.
And it's only barely feel good, and not for until the last 15 or 20 minutes, because you're going to go in here and 3/4 of the way through, you're going to want to kill the person next to you, let alone your kids.
Brad, I'm a fluffy cloud.
Yeah, and I'm constantly getting flies in the face. So yeah, I totally understand.
I am Speed.
I am Speed. Is that something you made up yourself? That's great motivation there, Joe.
Well, he does drive a Mustang after all.
Which is funny. He said after he comes back from the training and he's still in the thing saying, "I am Speed." I'm like, we just went over this. You are not Speed anymore.
Yeah.
You are conservative. You are smart. That's what you need to be saying.
Yeah. I remember hearing this story from a parent who said he took his kid to see the first Cars movie, and his kid kept referring to Lightning McQueen as Speed. And the parent said, "Why do you keep calling him Speed?" And he said, "That's his name." He kept saying, "I am Speed. I am Speed." The dad had to explain. No. He was just pumping himself up.
I am Speed.
Q, thank you very much. Appreciate your opinion.
You're welcome.
Joe Johnson, Hollywood Car Minute. Couldn't have done this without you.
Always love talking about cars.
Absolutely, so do I. This has been the Bradcast and Comic Experience Sci-Fi, and we will see you next time.